Hey, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Tom Murphy Show. You know, we have been on a COVID-enforced hiatus for the past 16 months. So this is the first in-studio show of this new season. So I'm officially declaring that the new season begins tonight. We're very happy to be here. We're very happy that LMC-TV has been here for the community throughout the whole COVID crisis. They have been a lifeline for elected officials to communicate with the public, and I'm very grateful for all the work that they have done and will continue to do. They are vitally important to our community. But tonight, I also have another organization that is vitally important to our community but is not as well known, and that is both the STEM Alliance, who runs Co-op Camp. But specifically tonight, we're going to be here to talk about Co-op Camp. Co-op Camp is an enrichment program for children who need a hand and can need some support to make sure that they don't get academically backsliding during the summer. But I'll let the experts give you more. Tonight, I'm very proud to say that they have both Village of Mamaroneck residents, one newly minted and one lifelong. And tonight we have Meg Kaufer, the director of the STEM Alliance and Co-op Camp, and Manny Rawlings. Manny, you're the business manager of both. Thank you both very much for coming here. Let me just start by asking you, what is the purpose of Co-op Camp other than showing the kids a good time, which I know you do? What is the operational
That's
purpose?
the purpose of any camp, right?
Right.
So what makes us unique is that the Co-op Camp, first of all, it is a Mamaroneck School District program. So it's primarily funded through the Mamaroneck School District, but it's a cooperative, like its name implies. And it has over a 55-year history of being a summer camp, mostly for children who qualify for free or reduced lunch.
Okay.
And it is a summer slide intervention. It's a priority of the school district because we know that there is this challenge for children specifically from a low-income background around summer slide. So if you look at the achievement rate of children from a high-income background versus a low-income background on, for example, a reading instrument, you can see on a graph that during the school year, children actually perform at the same rate no matter what their socioeconomic background is. And so the line on that graph, their progress goes up at the same rate. But the difference happens in the summer, where the children from a low-income background, they have a precipitous decline in their performance, whereas the children from the higher-income background, they tend to level out. And what you see ultimately is that when children have access to the same resources during the school months, there may be a gap, but they're performing at the same rate. The summer is what widens that gap. And so Co-op is established under the mantra of equal access to quality summer experiences because summer matters. The data proves that without enrichment, children will fall behind in the summer, and that achievement gap is going to widen. And so it's a summer program, but the school district makes a commitment to it because it has a direct impact on the academic lives of children during the year.
And that's so important because if you fall back every summer, then at the end of 8 years of elementary school, you're a couple of grades behind.
That's exactly correct. What you're pointing out is that it's a cumulative impact.
Exactly.
And so if you have that achievement gap and it starts, at whatever points in kindergarten, then by 6th, 7th, 8th grade, the gap is so severe that it is much harder to make up that difference. And so this is a summer slide intervention. It is to create an equity of opportunity, and the camp emphasizes both fun, absolutely,
right,
tons of fun, but we do our learning experiences in a highly project-based learning way so that the kids are making, doing, playing while they're learning.
Right. So they don't know they're learning, which is the important thing.
Yeah, I like to call
sneak the knowledge in there.
Well, we say, I think one of our expressions is that we're offering they think they're getting chocolate, we're feeding them broccoli. And really is a lot of both.
Okay, you know what, I want to get into the history of the camp. And Manny, I know you went to the camp when you were a youngster. So can you talk a little bit about where Co-op came from, the impetus behind Co-op, and your experiences?
Got it. So I went to Co-op, years and years and years ago, and it had a really big impact on me because it's my community kind of serving me, and that's kind of where my position kind of come in now. With I'm giving back to my community just like my community gave back to me when I was a kid. So Co-op is really just a fun experience for the kids. It's not like we said, we're giving, they're getting chocolate, but we're giving them really broccoli. It's really like that whole aspect of, fun learning in a fun way during your summer when you're with your friends, where you can do all these kind of rituals and fun things like swim every other day or swim every day, or go to sports and rec and do kind of the fun things don't get to really do during the school year.
Right. Well, and so you not only got the enrichment, you also grew relationships with the kids that you were.
Exactly. Yeah, you really get to interact with, because the program covers kids from all districts, and that's the first time they really get to intermingle before they get to Homics. So you really get to meet new friends from, other elementary schools that are a part of the Mamaroneck School District.
Right, from the 4 elementary schools. Yeah. So they're all Mamaroneck School District students, but they're blending in from the 4 elementary schools.
So it's students in the 4 elementary schools who are eligible for free lunch.
Yeah,
Correct.
Free reduced lunch. They get to come together a little bit earlier, because without that, you don't really get to meet those kids from those schools until you get to Homics. So you're kind of meeting new friends from other schools, which I think is really, really important.
So it makes the transition into Homics a little smoother.
A little bit smoother, yes. Yeah.
Good.
I think it's also critical to point out the mentorship that you were pointing to, and also that community role, because we employ as well 60 people, a minimum, in the program, many of whom are young adults from the community. And when the program was established 55 years ago by Dee DeBramo, a really outstanding human being who had a vision for this program and created it, Dee really pointed out, a lot of people thought the program was about the little kids. It's as much about the young adults.
Right, who find employment and find purpose.
Exactly, and there too, it's a blend of people from different backgrounds, whether that be racial backgrounds or socioeconomic backgrounds. And many of the young adults who work in our program say that it is the most authentic experience that they have had with people who are different than they are. And that's because they depend on each other. If you're a co-counselor and you're taking care of 12 kids and you have to help them with swimming, a high-risk environment, you really need to know your co-counselor. And so we have a full week of orientation and leadership building. Manny can tell you also about some of the extracurriculars that we plan for the young adults, but the young adults are mentoring those younger kids, and the adults in the program are mentoring the young adults. And so there are these tiers of mentorship that really create the fabric of community inside that program that then ripples outward into the community as a whole. And there's absolutely no doubt that the diversity of the staff is as significant as the diversity of the children themselves.
So Manny, you went through it from camper to counselor to now being in charge of the organization.
Yeah, so it's really, I kind of like that, think of that cycle. That's how I really explained it to the counselors who come in new every summer, because it's just like how I was, like that was one of my first jobs. So I think it's really important that when they come in to join camp, a lot of these kids, they don't know how to, make those connections or get those references when they want to go apply for another job. So COPE's really their first experience to really get to do that. And they always, come back year over year because they know the experience is so great, and they know they're, going to get, learn and get some leadership skills out of it.
Right, and the discipline of, I got to get up in the morning, I got to be somewhere, I got to, it's nice to have purpose. And I'm sure they're having fun with the little kids. I mean, my son was a counselor at another camp for years, and I know he had a lot of fun. Just interacting with the kids, and there's a self-esteem building for that when you have that responsibility.
Yeah, we had 40 of our staff member up on a high ropes course last Friday that we bake into the program. It's really important. If you can walk a high ropes course with someone and pump somebody up so they can push through and achieve something they haven't achieved, then when you're working with a child who's distraught, you know who you can count on.
Exactly.
And so we really we emphasize that very, very. It's a very high component of what we do. Additionally, we provide all of those young adult staff members with 3 pieces of written feedback over the course of the 6-week program. So we're also giving them concrete written feedback about their professional skills, their ability with children, and so forth.
So programmatically, you have the STEM aspect of it, but recreationally, you're also one of your tasks that is to teach kids how to swim, right? Now we're a community that's surrounded by water. You would think that this would be an important skill. So can you talk about how that's progressed and what the challenges are about that?
Yeah, I think Manny can speak to that.
Definitely, yeah. So swimming is like, it's summertime, you want to get in the water, you want to swim. So I think it's really, we always focus on making it, how important it is to get those kids just comfortable in the water. If they don't really know how to swim, that's totally okay. It's just getting them comfortable, because a lot of these kids don't, what you don't know is, as you kind of move up and get to the Homics, swimming is part of what, recreation is. at the hammocks. So it's just getting these kids comfortable at a younger age. So when they go to hammocks, they're not as fearful to get in the water or want to stay in the shallow, and they have the skills to kind of, really know how to swim. Because the very basic things we like to teach them, how to keep their head above water, maybe how to, not float, but I don't know,
Tread water.
how to tread water, how to really do that is really important because, like you said, we're surrounded by water. They should know how to swim because swimming is actually the second leading highest cause of accidental death in kids under 12.
Wow.
So just to give them that skill of really swimming is, really, really essential for them to learn over the summer.
And I know that there are barriers to some of these kids using the pool on a full-time basis.
Definitely. So like this is, the kids who are lucky enough to get to go to camp and join us each summer, that could really be their only time they really get to enter the water. They don't really have access to really go to the local pool or, travel somewhere, maybe to White Plains or to Saxon
Right.
Woods because, financially it's not really possible, or just transportation. They really can't get to these spots to really get in the water to, practice swimming or get comfortable swimming in the water.
Even our local pool,
Yeah.
the Hammocks pool, which is a community pool in the summer, is prohibitively expensive for some families.
Yeah, it's important to realize that while that pool was built with municipal resources, it's not equitably available. You have to pay for a membership in order to use that pool. And, it's very challenging. There's no scholarship opportunities that we've been ever made aware of whereby families could get a membership to that pool. We also know that swimming, which is a life skill, is, generationally, if you have a parent who doesn't swim,
Right.
then this can get passed down, right? So it cannot be emphasized strongly enough, the significance of access to swimming and basic swimming skills that we're able to provide through the co-op program.
Now, years ago, I didn't grow up in Mamaroneck, but years ago, if you talk to people who grew up in Mamaroneck, that's Stephen Johnson was a swimming teacher down in Harbor Island Park. They had a swimming team, they had swimming clubs. If you talk to people my age or older, they will tell you that Steve Johnson taught me to swim down Harbor Island Park. And we don't have that anymore. And not only is swimming fun, but it's also great exercise throughout your whole life.
Yeah, and I would say too that another very, very important statistic about summer, Tom, is that children of color have weight gain that is twice as fast as their peers during the summer months. So the summer months can actually be associated with decreased health factors, health performance
Because
for
they don't have
low-income and children of color.
recreational opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a family that does not have the money to pay for a summer program,
Yep.
then you're going to quite literally put your child at home, maybe with a young babysitter, and you're going to lock the door because you have to go to work.
Yes.
Your family is dependent on that income.
Yep.
And so it is not uncommon for children from a lower income background to actually move less and, like I said, have higher risk factors for health issues. And I think when you layer onto that COVID, what is going to be a primary conversation right now is the collateral health damage of the COVID crisis. We absolutely need to look at COVID itself, and folks need to vaccinate. That's critical.
Yes.
But there has been significant collateral damage around underlying chronic conditions such as obesity
From
and
atrophy
and overall fitness. And so again, summer comes into play. Summer matters. This is a time and a place where we can have high recreation. Our kids are having 2 recreation blocks a day. They're getting swimming in. This is critically impactful for conquering some of those health issues that rise during summer months. Also, families that typically receive access to additional food resources, those often are not available during the summer months. I'm very happy to report that the Mamaroneck School District has maintained all of their food services for anybody who is food insecure. But that's not always true.
And as you both know, because I know you both spent a lot of time volunteering down in Columbus Park at the food giveaway, there was a huge need in this
Yes.
community, and the need still persists. And the need, it's so sad to me that in a country as wealthy as ours, we have to go hat in hand and ask folks to, and thank God they do. There's a lot of good, sweet, kind, generous people who provide resources, but that shouldn't be our plan. Our plan shouldn't be charity. Our plan should be paying people a living wage. Our plan should be, making sure that, during times like this, there is resources that the government hands out. And hopefully we'll get there, but it's going to take a while.
Well, I would tell you that speaks to the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math portion of our work and the STEM Alliance running this program.
Well, why don't we talk about what STEM means?
Yeah. So STEM is an acronym.
Right.
Science, technology, engineering, and math. And the STEM Alliance is the lead administrator of Co-op. We are a nonprofit that is working to create a network of learning opportunities for children in those disciplines. Why those disciplines? Well, that goes back to what you just said. You can teach them, you can give a man a fish, or you can teach a man to fish. Ultimately, those STEM skills are related to higher employability and higher wages. If you want to look at opportunities to break that cycle of poverty, you need to connect kids with the skills that they're going to be more employable with. And ultimately, we know that kids are fascinated by STEM skills. They're high touch, they're do, they're make, they're create, they're innovative. So we also know that kids just love them. They can eat it up, and they are so embracing and so naturally curious. But additionally, if we really embed high opportunity and high quality programming in those STEM disciplines, we may be seeding those children to move towards the very disciplines that are going to allow them to earn more and fill huge opportunity gaps out there where they can't get enough STEM workers. So we know higher employability.
Yes, some of the really high-tech jobs and some of the really technical jobs and even the trade jobs are going begging because people don't have those skills.
Correct.
And the jobs of the future with solar energy, they're all going to have some technical applications that you're going to have to need to know.
Exactly. And, even in the pandemic last year, Co-op existed. We had a virtual program last year, and it was exceptional. And our focus was giving kids those digital skills to be successful in the virtual learning environment. Highly successful. We had really the ability to give them those baseline skills that if you didn't have a computer at home and you didn't have internet at home, how would you have known how to engage in a remote learning environment? So, we understand that, and that's exactly the work that we do. So, Manny, I can't even remember the list of STEM majors we have. We call them STEM majors.
For this summer?
Yeah, for this summer.
So a couple of them are like It's Electric is one of them, Seeing the Light, Geology Rocks, STEM Superheroes. Those are just a couple I can remember off the top of my head. And they're all like really, really fun. Like I know in Geology Rocks, they're actually making like, I don't know the word for it, I think like it's like some type of like terrarium or something like that where they, mix different kind of soils together and then they actually put a plant in it and they get to take it home. So it's one of the things they can kind of go in and make. And I know in It's Electric, they're actually working with like circuits and batteries to kind of, make a light light up basically.
Right.
Which is really, really fun.
Oh, okay. So did they learn a little bit about electricity and Ohm's law and resistance? And,
Yes. Yeah. So they get to learn about all that stuff, but then they get to do a fun project with it.
Yes.
Throughout the week.
Well, that's the great part about STEM because they're actually creating something. It's not just you learn it in the book, and frankly, I have a brother who's a scientist, and he's a doctor of biochemistry, and that was always his thing, and I just hated science as a kid because to me it was just they gave you the book, and it was.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. You use it every day now.
I use it every day.
Yeah,
yes, I do.
And
I use the practical applications of science and
all the time.
physics all the time.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm guessing your viewers may be of the same mindset, right? Like, you don't need to know what Ohm's law is to plug something in.
No.
Right? And so part of the work that we do with children is we're not requiring them, we're letting them test and check and create.
That's the best way to learn.
Exactly. And then we're layering in the vocabulary, like in that It's Electric, to watch the kids run around and start using vocabulary like, is that conductive or not conductive? Right? That's not vocabulary they had when they entered in. They might have had words for like, it doesn't zing, But we're giving them that vocabulary while letting them touch and do. And one of my favorite things, absolute favorite things at the close of an awesome co-op day is as the kids are flushing out of the building and we're saying our goodbyes, I walk up to kids and I say, what did you make today? and they all have an answer, because that's the work we do at Co-op. We have them making and creating, and it's original work. It's not that everybody's doing the same thing. We are resourcing them.
Right.
We're giving them the opportunity, because here's the thing, maybe when I was growing up, I don't know if you remember this, but like maybe your mom or your family had a drawer, and it was like, that's where the crayons and the
sure.
scissors were, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, when you were really bothering them, she'd be like, go to the drawer and get some crayons. I'll be back in 10 minutes, Yeah. So those tools today need to be different. What we are making available for children to tinker and touch and play with, it needs to be copper tape and batteries. It needs to be masking tape and cardboard and
duct tape
and testing structures. And so that, and getting dirty. One of the challenges too is we take kids outside a lot, getting them used to insects. I'm kind of shocked at how many kids are really uncomfortable with that. But if we can change that around to, no, you're studying them, you're the scientist, and put them in little lab jackets with magnifying glasses, that's the work we're doing.
Right.
And when they leave every day, if you ask them that question, there won't be a kid in the group who doesn't have an answer. What did you make today?
Now, besides that, and that's a great aspect, what are the other fun activities that the kids engage in during the day?
So there's a couple of things. So they obviously every day this summer they have 2 recreation blocks where they go outside, and our recreation coach actually has a bunch of really fun games they gotta do. So there's some like good water games. We do some water relay races, or maybe they're learning to play volleyball, or maybe they play soccer some days. But the really fun things we do each week is like a themed kind of week. So for instance, this week I think is Disney Fun Day or Disney Fun Week. So the kids don't know it; they just know it's a Disney week, and some of us are going to dress up in costumes and get really fun.
That's
they kind of get them excited about it. And then we also have like special like treat days where last summer during the pandemic we had cupcake bombing days where we'd show when the kids would get a cupcake, and you never knew, the kids didn't know which day it would be. So every day on Zoom last summer they would kind of anticipate like, oh, it's today's my day, and and they would kind of either be surprised or not surprised. And this year, since we're lucky enough to be in person, our fun treat days are ice cream bombing days. So we get to go around, and some groups will be lucky enough to get ice cream, and now they all like listen in the hallways to hear like an ice cream truck kind of sound to know, oh, are they coming to my room? Are they coming to my room? To kind of give them ice cream. So that's really something really fun that we get to do this summer.
That sounds great. I just want you to know I am off July 26th, and I would like to stop by.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And if you could make it ice cream day.
Now you're right. So we have to have a Tom Murphy ice cream bombing.
Yeah.
I think it's really important, and Manny actually organizes the majority of these extra experiences. He runs Color Wars, which is another. The other thing about summer is rituals, right? So the idea of the cupcake bombing and the ice cream bombing is to create this ritual of unexpected moments, right? That's the joy of summer,
Sure.
Right? Is when your mom would say, you know what, kids, we're going to Playland,
Yep.
right?
It's funny you mentioned Playland. I was at Playland this weekend with my girlfriend. We were walking around, and we were actually just going for a walk, but we parked in Playland, and we were watching all the people going in and out. And I said to her, a lot of these people, this is their vacation.
That's right.
This is they're saved up, and
The
they're
one
coming
and
to
done,
Playland.
right?
And we have to keep those people in mind.
Right.
And not everybody gets a week off during the summer and goes to the Cape Cod or
Exactly.
wherever. And those are the people that you're serving.
Right.
And I'm very aware of that. Having a lot of you know my story. I grew up in the inner city, and the experience of that. And I'm grateful for it because it colored my worldview. The diversity of the city that we grew up in. The message that I'm getting here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the most important thing in this whole aspect, and is education, and that's the way out. That's the silver bullet here.
Correct.
Is if everybody got the same educational opportunities, at least there'd be an opportunity for everybody to succeed. We all aren't created equal. People are smarter, people are taller, people have different talents. But if everybody's at least given that opportunity to succeed.
You're really speaking to another very critical statistic around that opportunity gap. And there's research done from a group in New York City called Expanded. It's Expand Ed. And it shows that for children from a low-income background, before they reach sixth grade, they have a 6,000-hour learning gap. What is that gap comprised of? Well, it's not comprised of school because they have access to the same amount of school. It's comprised of these enrichment opportunities. So over 1/3 of that is the summer month experiences. Half of it is after school enrichment. What happens in these out of school time hours? And so that's where things like summer and those extras that happen after 3 o'clock, critical, absolutely critical in that opportunity gap. That's why you have a difference between, it's not necessarily that kids from higher income backgrounds are going home after school and reading, War and Peace, right? That's not what it is.
You know what, I just want to, before we wrap up, I want to point out that you are a 501c3, both Co-op Camp and the STEM Alliance.
That is correct.
Are a 501c3. So if people go to your websites, they have an opportunity to help out.
We would very much appreciate
to donate and to help this program both survive and to flourish. And I'd like to someday you should kind of do you know Keeps?
Yes.
And it seems like a natural fit.
Connection.
STEM and Keeps. And Keeps is now going to be a tenant of the village of Mamaroneck. They are now going to be in the pavilion down on Harbor Island.
Very exciting.
And we're very excited to have them. They needed a permanent home.
Yeah.
And we're happy to provide that. But I think that's it's probably a lot of the same.
Overlapping
children.
target audience for sure. Absolutely.
And listen, in my view, a lot of times when people judge school systems, right? They look at how many people took AP courses, how many people are going to Harvard, how many people are going to Princeton. But that's not what you should be looking at. You should be looking at how are the people who are at the bottom of the ladder, are they moving up the ladder? And if they're not moving up the ladder, then we're not doing our job.
Right.
Because I could take a kid whose mother and father went to Harvard and they goes to Europe every summer. And I can just hand them the books, and they're going to be teaching me. You know what I mean? So it's really, to me, the important thing is making sure that everybody's stepping up.
Well, especially when you look at these elementary age children, right? They're going back to the same classroom in September. Our classrooms are mixed opportunity, mixed needs, right? And so it is a disadvantage to every family in this community if there are children who are going back having lost skills over the summer. It should be everybody's goal that we rise together. Ultimately. And I do think that Mamaroneck School District has made an enormous commitment, obviously, in funding this program. They do not fund the entirety of the program. We depend on philanthropic dollars.
The village helps you out.
The village and the town of Mamaroneck both contribute. And then ultimately we depend on philanthropic gifts.
We have to end, but I think that's a good way to wrap up, is that we all do well when we all do well.
Correct.
And Manny and Meg, thank you both very much. Thank you both for coming here today, and thank you both for everything you do for this community every day. I really appreciate it. And until the next time, I'm Tom Murphy. Everybody, I hope you have a great summer. I'll probably have another show in August. Stay well, stay healthy, and as Meg pointed out before, if you have an opportunity to get a vaccination, get the vaccination. If you have vaccination hesitancy, for God's sakes, please talk to your doctor or some other healthcare professional that you trust, because we're all in this together. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening, and until the next time, good night.